We just pressed the record button. So if you're just if you're listening later on demand, and what I did was I just asked the members if there's anything that we wanted to focus on. And a lot of people here just want to kind of go with the flow. And so we're going to go with the flow, but also focus a little bit on business. And if you're in a business yourself, and anything that's getting in the way of the success. And we'll call it that. Anything getting in the way of success, whether business or sometimes it can feel even just in life, right? Whether it's successful relationships or success at perhaps even health. I mean, we could really broaden that if we wanted to. So let's begin. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Sherianna Boyle, and the cleanse is an acronym for the 7 steps, and it's featured in the last 4 books that I've written. And the most recent one, I don't know where it is. It's around here somewhere. It's behind me. It's orange. It's called Energy in Action. And so I'll take you through the steps, but you're not really going to know what they are, because if I explain them, then we're more of a teaching mode. So you're just really, the purpose is to experience it. And I'm kind of taking my time, right? So when you look at energy in action, it's going to be kind of clearly written out for you, so you can go step by step and experience it on your own. So there's many different variations. That's the other thing I want you to keep in mind, is it's a 7-step process, but there's different variations of those 7 steps, because we're working with energy and you do want to change up sometimes the variations, but the structure always stays the same. So it's always the same, start at the C, end at the E, but within there is room for play, right? There's room to change it up a little bit. And you kind of know when that happens, because, like, for example, one of the tools is tapping, which you might be familiar with, EFT. And I've been tapping and tapping and tapping and adding that variation for a while. And just recently I was like, I'm not tapping anymore. Like, it's time to change it up, right? And you can almost tell when that happens. And it doesn't mean it's not working. It doesn't mean it's wrong. But I do think that it's good to change things up now and then. So again, there's different variations in there. So the variation we'll choose right now. And again, we're just going to take a moment to check in, and I'm just kind of feeling the energy of the group. And even though this group kind of very loosely let me know a little bit about, I'm going to always ask, what's in the greatest and highest interest? Because sometimes we go into something thinking, if I could just work on this, then everything, right? So taking that into consideration, and then kind of, it's like going into the bigger picture, because if you get too narrowly focused on this one thing, you might miss some things, right? So that's the way I kind of look at it. So we're going to do the variation, which I call presses. So you take your 2 peace fingers and you put them on the back of your brainstem. So right underneath the ridge here, I'm going to start to talk faster because I know somebody here has to leave, although there's going to be a recording, I suppose. But anyway, second hand is, so there's my navel's here. I'm above the navel, and it's 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm just above, and you saw those were not very far apart. And I just go over 1, 2, 3. Take the top hand, the hand and the head, move it to the crown. It's like Pillsbury Doughboy. 1 on the bottom, 2 across, 3. Okay. Third eye, forehead, right between the eyebrows. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And then now second half of that, right hand, left shoulder, right ear, right shoulder. Eyes go down over that shoulder. So make sure your eyes look down and they'll feel a little strained. And we're going to do about a 3-second hold here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Bring your head back to center. Pause. Notes here. Take a deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. Okay. Breathe in through your nose. Exhale. Now we got to do the other side. Left hand, right shoulder. Left ear, left shoulder. Eyes go down towards the floor. Hold that for 3, 2, 1. Okay, bring your head back to center. Close your eyes. Breathe in. And breathe out. Okay, all right, breathe in. Breathe out. So I'm going to actually do a little tapping with this group. So we're going to go in next phase. We're going to tap. It's going to be the fear tap. So between the base of the pinky, wrists, right here, tapping right there. 2 fingers, light tapping. Just tap. Start to tap that energy. And now repeat after me. I think you're all muted. Everybody's muted, so that's good. So you're going to say to yourself, how I feel in my body. It will be out loud. Right now is. So say that. How I feel in my body. Right now is. Breathe in. And breathe out. Okay. Okay, breathe in. So again, if you're just joining, we're going to do one more tap. Go underneath the eyes as you're tapping. If you're just joining, one of the things was about like how to get my business really rolling, right? And again, I interpret that as sort of success, but it could be anything that we want to get rolling, right? It could be like a project we want to get rolling. So I'm kind of interpreting just by the energy and the way the person described it, was like, how do I get, get things kind of rolling, get things kind of moving, right? It sounds like more of like a rhythm, looking for a little bit of rhythm and flow, right? So just say again, say how I feel in my body right now is, and then breathe in and breathe out. Okay, so I'm working with cleanses from Energy in Action, just so you know, because there's 4 books with cleanses. So the one I'm working out of is Energy in Action. So now put your hands down, close your eyes and breathe. There's the spiritual law of attraction, okay? We all know the spiritual law of attraction. In the Energy in Action, I take the spiritual law of attraction and I couple it with the yellow ray of light, okay? And the way that I interpret the law of attraction is, another way to look at it, in my opinion, is the law of expansion, right? So what I would say is I would focus on the yellow ray of light, right? Yellow ray of light is what is coming in right now. The yellow ray is, it carries a lot of beautiful vibration, inner strength, confidence, unconditional love. It's also, it's wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom, and it's like the temple of, the spiritual meanings, like the temple of truth and wisdom and things like that. So I'm just giving you kind of a little sense of how sacred and powerful this ray of light is. So what you're going to do is tune into the yellow ray of light, and we're going to hum together, one hum. So you're going to inhale, and then you're going to exhale, hum. Now, when you hum for this one, I want you to hum from your heart, okay? It would seem that we expand from our mind, right? Like, how can I do this? How can I figure this out? What do I need to do, right? I think sometimes we go here, but the thing is, the expansion comes from the heart. So that's the first thing. You got to sort of break that habit a little bit of thinking that it's going to come from, I think sometimes we have like an image in our minds of what it's going to look like, how it's going to be, what it should look like. How do we know, right? And we get very head, and that's a lot of that is pressed upon us. It's not your fault. A lot of that is conditioning from the outside world. Like if you're not like having the time of your life, you haven't made it yet, right? So that's just, when I connect, that's just a bunch of BS, right? And so it's going to come from the heart. So that's the thing we want to be aware of before we hum. And so we're going to do one hum. I'm going to just check in with the energy before we do the next hum. But that's the first thing that I want you to keep in mind. Law of expansion. So I'm calling law of attraction, law of expansion. It's going to come from the heart. So let's see. So we're going to inhale together, and we're going to hum out loud. We're not going to hear each other because you're muted. Totally fine. Inhale. Open up the crown of your head. Yellow ray of light. Hum. So you can tell it's a pretty long hum. I'd like you to pause after that hum just so we can just check in here. Now let's do one more hum. So then the question changes. Sorry, I'm interrupting the hum. Finish your hum. The question changes. The question changes from how can I get things rolling? How can I get things moving, flow, blah, 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 right? The question changes to what's interfering with the heart. Is there anything interfering with heart, right? That's prohibiting, interfering, blocking, okay? So reframing, and we're going to do another hum against, and again, yellow ray of light, all right? Okay, so here we go. Inhale. So I'm working with specific, if you're watching the replay, you can see what applies to you, what doesn't. But the feeling I get, I have to figure out how to explain this. Again, the question is the heart, is there anything getting in the way? And I think sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves, as gentle and honest with ourselves, kind to ourselves when we ask this question, am I already overextended? So am I looking to expand when I already feel like I'm already sort of taken on quite a bit, right? And that's just an honest question we have to now and then ask ourselves. Have I already stretched myself in a certain way mentally, right? And there's no right or wrong, good or bad here, but it's that key word is being honest, is right. So let's do one more hum, just because that's how I get my information. So let's do one more hum. And what does that mean? Like sometimes we don't even realize where our plate is full. It's kind of like the body, right? It's like you keep eating and you don't even give yourself a second to realize, oh, I'm actually not hungry anymore, but I keep eating, right? So it's like taking a moment to say, okay, do I already have enough on my plate kind of thing? And I know a lot of people, what they do is they sort of disguise this by saying, if I could just get my business to run itself, then I'm going to have, right? We get this mindset, like if it just had its own, could do its own thing, right? And we have to be careful because that, it can be a little slippery, right? That kind of thinking. All right. So we're going to take another moment, close your eyes, breathe in. And the question again is, can you allow yourself to be honest? Can you allow yourself to be realistic, right? Can you let go a little bit? So that means like go to heart, right? And then, so now I want you to say, we're going to end this one and I'm going to just get feedback after this one. So I want you to say, I allow, and have it come from your heart, right? So I allow expansion. I allow rest. I allow nourishment. I allow confidence. I allow inner strength. And then you're going to say, I am. So just kind of, well, before you go to the I am, just take a pause here, breathe in, and just kind of let that settle, right? So again, I allow. So it's, I allow relaxation. I allow calm. I allow pauses, right? I allow nourishment. This is heart language, right? I mean, when we're talking this way, this is what, if your heart had a voice, this is what it would say. It wouldn't say, what do I do next? So I want you to start to feel that heart. So Spirit was saying before, it's about expansion, right? It's about, and it's going to come from the heart, now the head. So the dialogue's going to be different. I allow trust. I allow rhythm, because that's what we're looking for, some rhythm. I allow flow. Heart, heart, heart. You got it? Good. Everybody's shifting. I can feel it now. We're there. And then I am. Now you're dropping in. I am rhythm. I am nourishment. I am strength. I am focused. I am flourishing. I am flourishing. Drop into that. And just, I am flourishing. Feel it. And I am free. I am free. So breathe in and breathe out. And I am heart, right? So really connected to your heart. So now we'll just kind of sit. I just want you to marinate that in that a little bit. There's shifts that we move through. So just kind of taking a moment to feel the shifts in your body, feel a little bit of shift in perception, and feel how it comes from within and not out. There's inner movement. And you can feel how that heart energy is very grounding. It's very secure. It builds roots. You have to have the roots. You're not going to have roots from your head. You want to get more rooted in what you do. You want to get more rooted in who you are. You want to get rooted in, what you're all about, rooted in what you're creating, rooted that where we're ending and rooting from that. Heart is going to create those roots, heart energy. And the more rooted and solid and all of that you are, it will ebbs and flows, just like the top of a tree grows, expands, flourishes, blossoms. And then there's times where it's retreating. That's going to be you. So more rooted. It's not about how, it's about rooted. First of all, it's already happened. So I hope that helps. Try to get it quick so that everybody could get the experience. If there's any feedback in the chat, anybody wants to offer any awarenesses on that. We keep it in the chat at this point just because there's a lot of energy moving and we don't want to disrupt it right now. So I'm just keeping it quiet. That's why I like the chat. Very grounding. Thank you. Yeah. And did it make sense about really feel my heart expand and the roots? Yeah. Yeah. If you can get that, that really the sky's the limit. Can just make that shift and you can really anchor into that shift and don't waver from it, not even for a second, then, if anything, you're going to have to, be careful how quick it goes so fast. Right? Yeah. Heart will make, heart. Nice. Anchoring. How do we do that? Anchoring in, how do we do that? Or is it naturally anchored? Well, practice. I think we all go out in the world, we get a little rocked around, we get hit by energy, we get hit by other things, going on. And I think, having groups like what you're in already, the way that all of you staying connected to your peers, practicing is how you do it. But yeah, there's no reason why it wouldn't expand. Right? Do you see that? I mean, there honestly is I don't see any or feel or sense any reasons why that wouldn't be possible. The only way it would be limited is if that heart shuts down. And that's going to happen if we go out and compare ourselves to others and look at them there. I don't do that because honestly, you might be really comparing yourself to something that has not a lot of heart. Don't, it's like, so it's, no judgment there, but just, I think I wouldn't want you to hold yourself back. And anytime we think we're less than, that doesn't feel good, right? Anytime it feels like we're not quite good enough, that doesn't feel good on the heart, right? It's like a little like, ooh, you're not good enough. Ooh, you haven't done this. Ooh, you know what I mean? It's like, no, you can't let that happen. Like, stick up for yourself. You got to be a little stronger, a little bit like, what, like, really, don't be gullible. Don't fall for it. All right. So that's that's how we do this. I do this every Tuesday night in a group. If you ever want to try, this is what I do in my group setting. You know, I have a group called the Rays of Light, and that's what we do. Yeah.